It's time you finally joined the team. You can see how much we need you.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I was meant to be a member all the time.
You know, I think this is going to be the start of a beautiful friendship.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, Brian.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing great. I love the pictures you chose for that intro so much, especially the interior ads for those one-off Saturday morning shows, like the Fonz one or the Harlem Globetrotters. There was I don't know if it was on the pictures you showed, but like Gilligan's Planet and Laverne and Shirley had it. Like there were
that's
all
right.
these weird Saturday morning cartoons when we were kids. They
Yeah,
gave
they kind of
anything a
just threw
show.
everything at the wall and see. Let's see what sticks.
Good stuff.
Yeah, when I was going back looking for some of those like images, I was amazed that it was jogging my memory of just, I remember just sitting in front of the TV for 3-4 hours and just be flipping the channels, between, well, probably at one point I probably had to get up and actually move the dial.
I don't know if you I had siblings, so there were Saturday morning wars when there were two conflicting shows, someone wants Muppet Babies, but someone else wants G.I. Joe, something.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm the youngest of 5. So there's a little bit of a gap between my youngest brother and myself. So I had the TV to myself Saturday mornings. They were, teenagers at the time, and so they were out of the house or working or whatever they were doing. Yeah, so I could watch whatever I wanted.
Very cool. Thank you for having me this morning.
Thanks for
derail the intro.
Yeah, good to catch up, and I know we've got some stuff to talk about, but let's check in with the chat. See who's joining us this morning. Phil is here. He's going with the Captain Crunch with the Crunch Berries.
Not a bad choice.
No, that's Captain Crunch was one of my favorites back in the day. Dan is here. Good morning, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Christina's here.
The ever-present Christina.
Yes. Dropping links wherever she goes. Madam's here. Good morning, Madam.
Good morning.
Oh, look who's this guy.
Yeah. I know him.
On screen and in the chat too. There's Christina dropping some links for everybody. Appreciate that. Yeah, and if you're not familiar with Hall Nate, definitely go sub him up as well.
Come on over. We have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you've been busy. So what you do, you have your Sunday show, you have a Tuesday show now.
Yep.
And you're always hanging out with Alan Friday nights.
Yep. Well, and then people like you ask me to come on, and I mean, I almost always say yes. Like if I can make it, I just love to talk books. But yeah, I've been really busy the Tuesday Sunday thing and trying to get out an edited video once a week, but and failing at that, by the way. Did not get a video out last week, so we'll try again this week. But
the live stream is so easy, right? Because you basically push a button, you go live.
You do.
You can invite some friends. People show up in the chat, and you kind of just
it's go. A blast. But like you and I talked about a little bit backstage, like I like video production. Like I like the mechanics of shooting something and editing, and right. So that's just the fun for me too. Like it's all fun. It's all fun in different ways. But yeah, God, I love the live streams. I love this stuff.
Yeah, because the interaction with the chat and just talking with others and seeing everybody showing off books and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely fun to do that. Wellbore, good morning and good luck. I know he posted out on Instagram, and I saw him in one of the chats earlier today. His daughter just got her license, and she's taking his truck on a first trip, like 20 miles away this weekend.
I saw that post. I saw that post too. Yes, good luck, my friend.
Yeah, I remember
nerve-wracking, I'm sure.
My kids getting their, first car and, talking to them about what to do and what not to do and all the stuff. So Renegade, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jason.
Let's see.
Phil's dropping knowledge.
Phil, yeah. Christina's dropping links and Phil's dropping knowledge. Mike is here, Casino
Hey,
Comics.
Mike.
He's been hanging out with you guys too. See him on some live streams, which is good to see.
He's on with Crom and Jason and Stevie D. Roscoe's
here. Got to hang out with Roscoe last weekend.
I saw that. That is that's just
that
so
was great.
Cool.
Great to catch up with him. And then I caught and probably two guys that you probably are not familiar with because they really haven't been on YouTube in a while. Southpaw Brad and Tylox the Mighty. I got to have lunch with them, and they've been kind of MIA from YouTube. But I caught up with them this week. Had lunch. They're doing well. And Tylox he said he might pop into somebody's open live stream soon just to kind of check in. But for those that know him, he's doing well. He's got a lot going on, good stuff going on, but I'll let him catch everybody up. But he's well. He's really doing good. So
great.
Garage Geek, good
There's
morning.
My friend David.
Coach is here. Good morning, Coach.
Doug.
Let's see, Eddie's here too. Good morning, Eddie. Morning. Will is here. A couple comics.
Just one.
Terry's here. I won't say good morning because it's not morning for him. And
it's not. I love Terry, and I love that he pops in on all these things with the time difference.
Yeah, I'm always like when I see Terry or like Dr. Von Hoot in the chat, I'm always like, all right, what time is it? Is it the middle of the night or even the Australian crew, Simon and
Matt
Spidey, Simple Simon, those guys. Yeah. So Shane is here. Good morning, Shane.
Good morning.
David's here. Good morning.
Good morning,
Geeks. Let's see. Everybody's saying good morning to everybody. Kenneth is here. Kenneth Bird.
Kenneth.
JSS.
Good morning.
Multitasking. I get that. I understand that. Chicago Schultz is here.
Morning.
Let's see.
C2E2. That's something.
Yeah, right. C2E2 weekend, right?
I know my friend Eric from SideQuest is up there. Chonko is up there. It's one I'm going to have to put on my visit list for maybe next year.
Jabs. Yeah. Mike is here.
Mike.
Yeah, I've never been to the C2E2 show. Definitely would like to get to that show. I thought I saw who was Big Lion Cat. BLC was live this morning on Instagram.
Oh, cool.
He's doing, I think, signature verification for CGC. So he's working the show, but he was live, just kind of showing the show floor before the show opened.
Awesome.
So, yeah. Let's see. David's here. Good morning, David.
Good morning. Yeah, I don't know about you, but good morning, Jerry. Even if I'm not going to the show, like I look forward to the shows happening because I know I'm going to see a whole bunch of YouTube videos about the show.
Oh yeah.
So it's like I still get the experience a little bit.
Yeah, you can live through the videos. I mean, I think one of my most watched videos was a New York Comic-Con video.
Sure.
Just floor footage from the show because people just want to see
people. Yeah, people want that.
Yeah, they want to see what's going on out there, right? So, yeah, and that's the thing, right? Heroes Con this year, at the end of Heroes Con, that following couple weeks, there'll be plenty of videos, plenty of hauls. Yeah, you'll get all the recaps, so which is always good.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Canadian Survivalist, good morning.
Good morning.
So why don't we we'll jump into some of the topics that we've got for today. Well, CBC Awards, figured I'd mention it. We are June 7th kicks off the actual nominations. But next month, May 9th, we'll have a live stream. We have CBC Awards has its official YouTube channel. So we'll be doing all of the awards type stuff on that channel, kind of separate it finally from my channel.
Yeah.
But we'll be over there on May 9th with a live stream and going over all of the tweaks and the categories for this year and, all the different details just about a month ahead of the nominations opening. So definitely go follow the CBC Awards channel on YouTube. The link is on the website or on Instagram as well. I forgot to actually pull it up, but I'm sure Christina will. And
She's already
dropping
doing
it already.
She's already doing it. She's ready to go, man.
Fanboy's here. Good morning. Fanboy was live this morning as well. I caught a little bit of that this morning as I was getting ready to get over here. So that's the CBC Awards. Like I said, we're about 2 months out. We'll ramp up discussion and Instagram and that as we get closer. So cool. Justin's here. Good morning, Justin. And then Heroes Con, right? We were talking a little bit about C2E2 and Heroes. So, so this will be my second trip. Last year was my first time there. Really enjoyed it. Like I said, really one of the best comic cons from a comic. If you're hunting books, there's so many comic vendors and a lot less of the other, pop figures, action figures. There's some of that there, but I'd say 90% of the vendors are comic vendors. So people were picking up, Golden Age stuff, modern stuff. If you're looking for something, my guess is that you'll be able to find it at Heroes. So
that's great.
And then all the creators, a bunch of, the artist writers. So a lot of opportunity if you're looking for.
Yeah. I looked at last year's creator list versus this year's, and a lot of the people I've talked to seem to think that we'll get another creator announcement before it happens. And the list is already great. There's quite a few people on there I'm considering, checking out to get a sketch or a signature or something. But yeah, there were a ton more names last year, so it would be awesome if they are about to add another 20 or 30 people to that roster.
Yeah, they do. They tend to kind of update it late, I guess, depending on if people can't commit, right away.
Right.
But they do update usually a couple weeks before the show. If they have ads or sometimes even people cancel too, right? So they may have to take somebody off the list. But it's usually a really good list. So.
Yeah, it already is.
Yeah. So what is your? I know we were talking a little bit of backstage. Let me get rid of the slide as we talk about it. We were talking about the hangout, the meetup with everybody. That's going to be a big part of it.
It's going to be a huge part of my focus is and to go back just for a second, the CBC Awards last year is how I became aware of a lot of the people within the community. And then, through hangouts and things, I've developed, relationships and friendships with people, and a lot of those people are going to be there. So I'm really excited just to, have that experience. I think it's like YouTube summer camp. At Heroes, we're all going. It really is we're going to stay for a few days and talk comics and all that. In terms of purchases, I haven't completely decided what my plan is, but I think I just want I want one really good book that I normally probably I don't want to get off eBay. I want to buy it in person.
Right,
so something,
in person. Yeah.
Something my honest dream is a Lois Lane #1 in decent condition. I don't want to pay too much for that. There are a couple of Lois issues, like the first Silver Age Catwoman. There's the race swap one, I Am Curious Black. That one goes for a bit. There's a Superboy book, number 68 is the first appearance of Bizarro. So, something like that, I think would be the trophy I want to bring home. I don't want to go, I'm a dollar bin digger, but I don't want to do that there because I can do that anywhere. And then Eric and Hagen and Dope, the guys I hang with the most, we are going to have a Heroes Con Weird Off where we're going to come together on Saturday night and see who found the weirdest book. And so, I think when we get closer, we'll probably open that up. Like it's not just necessarily going to be the four of us, but we're going to, I just think that's going to be a blast. And I have a couple books that I think I could trade towards something too, like books that I don't care as much about. And I think
I think Renegade's got a suggestion for you. He says, bring your ferret.
I can't give it up. It's I can't give up the diamond in my collection, Jason.
Yeah, I don't think I have any big book that I'm looking for. I've been working on a couple different runs of Marvel Team Up, Star Wars, the original Star Wars from Marvel. So I want to try to, I have one book that I need for the Star Wars run to complete that. And I still have several Marvel Team Up books, but, I think I'm just going to kind of focus on some of the smaller stuff that I need to work on the runs. Because last year I picked up a ASM 129. So that was my big book.
Sure.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna go because I don't know. I'm always buying books, so it seems like
me too. Aren't you? You're pretty close on Star Wars, aren't you? In that last video,
yeah, it's just one book.
Oh my gosh.
60 issues, 68.
Cool.
So, and again, that's like I could go on eBay and buy it today, but it's like I want to. That's a book because it's a little bit of an expensive book. It's the first appearance or mention of the Mandalorians in Star Wars continuity. So it like even in a raw book, it's like $100 book.
Yeah.
In a high grade. But I'd rather just like I said, I could go on eBay or my comic shop and buy it today. But I'm like, I want to pick it up. I want to.
I'm an in-person guy too. Like, not to say that I don't buy things online because I do.
Oh, yeah.
But there's something, I don't know what it is, but sometimes I'm just like, I'm not going to get that one on eBay. I'm not going to trust the pictures. I want to be able to talk to the person that has it, take it out of the bag, check, make sure I'm getting what I think I am.
Right. Yeah. Especially with a little bit more expensive of a raw book.
Yeah.
If it's a, $4 or $5 book, not that big of a deal to take a chance on it. Right.
Exactly.
But then we had the Friday night. So there's a big Friday night meetup at Heroes Con.
Yep.
That still only 35 cents. Dave is coordinating this year. So, and I think we have, I don't know, last I checked, it was 35 people committed to going.
I'm on the list.
Yeah. I'm on the list too. We did it last year. It was great to, catch up with everybody and, have some food and drinks and just, outside of the con. So if you are attending Heroes Con and we have a chat group on Instagram, and if you're not part of it, let us know and we'll get you added to that group and you can join us on, Friday night hanging out. So
like Phil's going to dinner with us.
Yeah. We've got a good group. So,
and Phil.
And yes, exactly. So it should be good. Like I said, I can't believe it's we're really only 2 months away. So
I can't believe it's that close. I really can't. But like I've already booked the room. Figured out my plan, like what route I'm taking. I really am excited.
That's right, because you're driving it, right? Yeah, you've got.
I am. Yeah, it's about a 9-hour drive for me.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I can do it in a day when I leave early enough, and that's how I'm going to do it. That's how I'm going to get home too. I don't like to. If I'm going to drive, I just want to get there. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No. Understand. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the good thing is after that long drive, you'll have several days to hang out and relax and dig through.
Right. It's not like it'd be different. I think if it was like just a 2-day show or something, but I'm getting there Thursday and leaving Monday. It's kind of half family vacation for me as well. Cause my wife has family down there that she's staying with.
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah. So you've got a little break in between the long, drive both there and home.
And as long as I can stop at a few Buc-ee's along the way to refuel
Yes.
on barbecue and beef jerky, I'll be just fine.
That's right. Some beaver nuggets, you'll be fine. Damon's here. Good morning, Damon.
Morning.
Let's see, buddy. Yeah, Niagara Falls. Yeah, that was one of the last trips my wife and I made before we moved to South Carolina, and from where we lived that's like a 10-hour drive from Long Island to Niagara, the edge of New York State. But yeah, and I know they have a great con up there too, Niagara Falls Con. Gotham and Glam. Good morning.
Morning.
Speaking of upstate New York. All right, so Spider-Man reboot. I know, Nate, you're not a big Marvel guy, but
I used to be. I used to collect a lot of Spider-Man. I had a lot of amazing Spider-Man, especially older ones that I did end up selling over the years. I was a big Spider-Man fan. And I bet you can imagine when I stopped reading a lot of Spider-Man.
Clone Wars?
No, actually, as a 90s collector, it's terrible. I don't think I'd go back and reread it necessarily, but that didn't stop me. It was
okay.
Early 2000s. One More Day. I was done.
Okay.
I was done.
Luckily I wasn't reading then, so I was kind of out of collecting. So, because I'm sure, knowing what I know now about the storyline, that would have upset me.
Yeah, I just, because I grew up reading comic books, Wally West Flash is my kind of parallel to this. He got married, he had kids. That became part of his story, and Spider-Man seemed to be going that way, but DC and don't get me wrong, DC jacked that all up too. But then they reversed it because that's what DC does. But Marvel is like dying on this hill that Spider-Man and Mary Jane can't be married. Unless it's in the Ultimate book, which I haven't read yet, and I've heard great things, and I'm gonna read the trades because I read a ton from my library. But yeah, they're bringing back, so they're rebooting what I've read. They're rebooting Spider-Man, but they've already said, we're not moving it forward. Right. We're just status quo in it again. So you are a big Spider-Man guy. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it was just in the last couple of weeks that the Marvel actually put out. I don't know if it was officially Marvel or Nick Lowe basically said that MJ, or news got leaked that they said that MJ and Peter cannot be together in Amazing Spider-Man, which is
right.
Which is crazy that they would even admit that. But then we've also had some news with they're bringing back Gwen Stacy, and then Mary Jane now is Venom, the new Venom, and so I don't know what Marvel is doing.
I saw that Mary Jane is Venom, and I was like, I thought it was a meme. I thought I didn't even get that it was real, because that was the whole thing, was who is Venom, and they were just throwing everybody out there as kind of a joke. And when I saw the Mary Jane one, I thought it was a joke, but she really is, and that's just insane.
And it makes no sense, because she was terrorized by Venom, over the years, and so it makes no sense. And she, within the last year or so, she became Jackpot. She got her own powers. So why would she go from that, which is fairly new, to now being Venom? So I don't know what they're doing.
Marvel is in such a weird place with their modern books right now. Everything I have given a chance, and there's been books I'm like, okay, I'm interested in this team or this book, this character, I'm going to try it out. And nothing has grabbed me except, there it is, right over my shoulder, Magic. The Magic series has actually been a lot of fun. But I tried the new X-Men reboots. I tried the X Factor reboot, which is written by Mark Russell, who I love. And just nothing has stuck for me. I can't explain why. It's just falling flat. And so I don't know. I again, like Spider-Man, I'll probably read in a trade from the library because I'll grab it, but it's not something that I'm going to put down money for or add to my PC.
I mean, the new the new reboots of Joe Kelly's writing it. And he's done some Spider-Man stories
Yeah.
Before. He's Deadpool and Spider-Man. He was the writer on that series. And Pepe Larraz is the art. The art is fantastic. The story for issue 1, and I'm going to do a review this coming week. It was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It was okay. Kind of middle of the road. But kind of what we've seen before, right? Parker's out of work and he's looking for a job. He's down on his luck, and the thing that I liked the best about it was that they got back to some of the classic villains. Rhino's in it, Hobgoblin, and so they're going back to some of the classic villains, which was good. The storyline with him being out of a job, I think, is kind of old, and I think that's the problem that Marvel has with their characters is they're not progressing. They're not progressing at
Yeah.
this point. He's
And
still.
if you change a character's trajectory, it's not always going to work, but at least you're trying something. And I don't feel like Marvel has, and that's kind of it. It's like it's just everything goes back to it. It always kind of has to reset, like an old sitcom. At the end of the issue, the end of the story arc, we want anybody to be able to jump in and know that Spider-Man's down on his luck. He's unlucky in love and in employment, and being Spider-Man is hard. It's like that's what they always want the little
Right.
synopsis to be. And it's okay to color outside those lines and let a creator explore the character. But DC struggles with that too. Batman, Tom King was on Batman, and there was this whole thing where him and Catwoman were going to get married. And in the end, editorial came in and pulled the rug out from underneath him with what his writing plan was. And it was the same thing. They had to reset Batman back to kind of a status quo. And I think that's a problem with these big legacy characters. Look at all the Spider-Man behind you. They want to sell that merchandise, and they can't do that if Spider-Man gets too weird,
Right.
So it's a corporate thing. It's a control thing, but I get it. I just don't understand why they can't. At least they are trying with Ultimate Spider-Man, right? They are giving fans something that they want, but they're not doing it within their bigger Marvel universe.
Yeah, and that has been, for me, reading Marvel books, their best stories over the last couple of years have been the outside of main continuity.
Right.
Avengers Twilight was really good. Aliens versus Avengers, which is going on now, has been really
everybody's
good.
talking about that one.
Ultimate Spider-Man, by far one of the best Spider-Man stories in 4 or 5 years. It's
awesome
because it's what most readers want. Peter and MJ are together, and it's a obviously outside of main continuity. They can they're making some changes with some of the characters that are in some classic characters that we've seen before. So it's kind of like a fresh take on it. But though the main continuity stuff is just hasn't been good. I like you said, I don't think they know how to handle these legacy characters. Spider-Man, being around for 60 years, they don't know what to do with them.
Do you think it has anything to do with the greater, like the fact that the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Marvel TV universe, that they're trying to keep I don't know. I feel like that's been part of their thing, is that they're trying to keep everything within certain boundaries inside this box so that people who've seen the movies will, know what's happening when they pick up a comic book. But I just don't know that the movies and TV shows are necessarily driving people to comic books the way they think they might be. I
think there's definitely some tie-in there, but yeah, I don't think your average movie. Obviously, they're not, right, because how many millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people are watching these movies, and they're certainly not at the comic shop, right?
Right. No, they're not. I mean, I don't see people jumping onto comics. I have seen people, honestly, I've seen people grab at the comic book shop last time I was there. They were grabbing the Marvel Rivals covers because of the game, and I love the game. I play the game. I'm going to play the game when we get off here today because season 2 started yesterday. But I've seen that be more of a bridge for people going to the comic shop than the movies have been, because the people, maybe because it's more interactive. The people that are playing are like, you're in it, not just viewing it.
But they've had that when they had the Fortnite, when DC did the Fortnite
Yes,
tie-ins, and even in Marvel did it too. There were a lot of kids, bringing their moms with their kids at the shop looking for the books so they could get the code for
so
Fortnite.
They could get the code, and that's brilliant. That is brilliant to get a book in a kid's hand, give them what they want, and possibly hook some of them as readers.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that was just give me the code, let me enter the code, let me get the character in the game, and take the book and toss it aside. But maybe we had some readers.
Maybe a few.
Damien, good morning. Didn't say good morning to Thomas. There's a few others that joined us as well. So
Thomas O'Donnell.
Appreciate everybody being here. But where do you sit on the legacy numbering, right? So that's a big issue. I know DC, I think, has done a better job. I know they've rebooted, so the main Batman, Detective Comics is still ongoing. They haven't changed.
There was a period where both Action and Detective got there's a chunk where the numbers are jacked up, but now, yes, they're doing their legacy numbering, and I think that's smart. I mean, those books are pillars, right? They are the longest continuously running series, and I think they should have their original numbers. I've always been I'm fine with legacy numbering. I actually prefer it. I wish books never changed unless the actual book changes. So again, I'm going to have to use my DC, but The Flash was Barry Allen for the longest time. And in issue 350, they ended that series. And many years later, they started it up again with Wally as the new Flash. And that was a number 1. That makes sense. Wally's book shouldn't have been Flash 351. But Amazing Spider-Man is another one of those, in my opinion, pillar books. That is one of Marvel's first ongoing titles. Fantastic Four. Those should be legacy books because they should be the books that show we have staying power. We have this thing that has gone on hey, it's a legacy, right? Celebrate that. And that's something that shows what's the word? I don't know what the word is. I can't, it escapes me right now, but it just, that longevity shows that it's worthy of still checking out because it's been around for a long time. Whereas the marketing,
the new number 1 here is, so it's Legacy 9. They keep the legacy number on the book, but it's 965, right? But this is now volume 7 of the Amazing Spider-Man. But
when they get to 1,000, that's what they're gonna pump.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So what they're only doing the number 1 because they want people to get that number 1 FOMO and go pick it up. And it works. I mean, I almost grabbed it. I was like, oh, I grab number 1s all the time. Right. So it almost worked on me too. It's, I'm not going to say I'm better than that reptile part of my brain. It gets me too. But I think, I wish that they would give that history that this industry has, because it's been around for a long time. And I think that it just makes it a little more, I mean, we're talking about funny books and guys in spandex fighting each other, but it gives it some seriousness as a legitimate, there's the word I was looking for. It gives it a legitimacy. It's a legitimate hobby that's existed for 60, 70 years,
Right. Yeah. Right. It's like you said, staying power. And it's interesting too, because Mike just mentions about first appearances. There is a first appearance in this. There's a new character that is introduced in the last page of this book. So, they hit you with a number 1, they hit you with a first appearance, and they hit you with some backup stories. It was kind of an oversized, I forget what the cover, I think cover was $5.99 for the book, so they're charging you a little bit more.
It was a $5.99er, that issue?
Yeah, I think it was $5.99. Let me see.
Is it longer?
They have two. No, not. I mean, there's a couple pages longer because they had two
man.
backup stories. But yeah, $5.99. The backup stories were like 3 pages each.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Davian, which I do agree. It's hard to blame them for pursuing huge cash bumps, but then David's response made me giggle.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm sure. Right, so we're 10 issues away from Legacy 975, which I'm sure they'll make some big special issue, and then obviously, like you said, issue 1000 will be 40 variant covers, probably a $9.99 cover price, and
all of them.
Yeah, it'll be crazy.
Which I think DC actually, in all fairness, they're getting ready to do something for Superman's anniversary that's coming up called Superman Day. There's going to be a bunch of facsimiles and variant covers. So I know that's coming up, and I saw a few of them. I was like, ooh, I might. I try to not do the variant cover thing too often, and if I do buy a variant, like I don't buy the original and the variant. I just get the one book because I'm a reader. So right. I try to,
I typically only do that with Spider-Man. I'll buy I always buy A covers.
I do too.
For a while, when I first got back in, I was buying just variants. So I said, no, I got to just stick to the A. And then if there's a cover a variant that really kind of stands out for one of the like Amazing Spider-Man, I may buy a title. So I did, like they got me this week where I bought.
Sure they did. It's okay, Brian. They would have got me too if it was Batman.
So I bought a Black Cat.
That's a gorgeous cover.
Yeah, so they suckered me in.
Yeah, I love that.
But Mike mentions this being confusing. Like if you're jumping in now, and that was I had that same experience when I got back into collecting in like 2020, 2021. I went. First thing I did was, well, let me pick up Spider-Man. I'll pick up Amazing Spider-Man. And I started trying to do some research to figure out, because I forget what issue. It was like issue 30 at the time. And I'm like, wait a minute. When I stopped collecting in the 80s, it was, issue 365. So why are we back here? And then I started doing some research and I'm like, I was confused. I had no idea all these different reboots and volume numbers, and so it took me a while to kind of.
And they don't do a good job, or I think they do now a lot better in the indicia of telling you what volume it is. But like in the 80s and 90s, they would just retitle it, and it wouldn't necessarily say Volume 3, Issue 12. It would just say Issue 12, and so you had to figure out by date or whatever it was. Which books went where when you had these titles that had the books that had the same title and it repeated over and over again. Someone mentioned Catwoman. Catwoman is a book that I feel like gets relaunched every 3 or 4 years.
Well, Deadpool's Marvel's
Deadpool. Yes. You never. I mean, I have no idea anything about that, about which one would fall in which era. Right. So for somebody new, it would be extremely confusing.
And the thing with Deadpool too, it adds to it is that typically, after like 10 or 15 books, his series gets canceled.
Right.
And then in a couple months, they're relaunching again. And then again, it only runs for, a couple dozen issues. And then, so it's just like this cycle.
Which I find funny. I mean, I used to work in a comic book shop right around like 1999, 2000. And man, people love Deadpool. Like the people who love Deadpool. It was a regularly pulled book for people who had pull lists, and people would come in and buy trades. So I'm just surprised he hasn't had a really like definitive long run.
Yeah, and I think they're rebooting again. I think the current series, they're changing it to Deadpool and his daughter. Marvel's doing something again, and again, I think we're at issue 12, and that was, I was reading an article about it, and they were saying that like he's one of the most popular characters, and fact with the big movies and things like that, but he can't sustain an ongoing book.
Yeah, And David is right about Supergirl because that is a book that I pick up. And there's a period of time where she had series that ran 20, 30 issues, and then they would just reboot. And DC does that all the time, but New 52 and Rebirth and Dawn of DC, just all these restarts, and you get new number ones. And I just saw that they announced there is a new Supergirl coming, and I'm super excited. I'll be getting it.
But it makes it tough too when you're digging through back issues.
Oh,
because
so
then
hard.
it's what volume is this?
Exactly. That just happened to me with a bunch of Supergirl books I was looking through, and I was like, I don't know if this is the run that I'm actually trying to put together, or the one that came before it or after it. But yeah, when they're a buck, you just grab them.
Yeah. If it's inexpensive, right, you'll take the chance, right? You won't even do the research. Just give it to me. No. Yeah, I'll take it.
That's how you end up with. I got books stacked everywhere.
Yeah. Go back to younger versions, right? Yeah, and I think that's the thing with Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Like, I think Marvel needs to stop trying to placate new readers, because I don't know how many new readers come on to Spider-Man. I think at some point we need to move the character forward. And because we have Miles Morales, who I think probably appeals better to a younger reader, a new reader, right? Because of the video games and the animated films and even the children's shows. The Disney Plus Spider-Man, I think it's Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, with Miles, Gwen, and Peter Parker Spider-Man. But I still think Miles may connect with a younger audience compared to, Peter Parker. So
I think they don't give a reading audience enough credit that we can jump into the middle of a universe, and if you built your world and your universe correctly, we'll figure it out. Like, if you make it interesting, and that's how it was when we were kids. Like, if I grabbed a Justice League book or an Avengers book in the middle of something, they would catch me up. I would know enough to read, and if I liked it enough, I would keep reading. And now it's like they just want everything to be they want everything to be like a streaming show. They want it to be one story arc, and they get to the end and they stop, and now here's a new number one, and here's a new story arc. And they're kind of that's what comics have always been within one. Amazing Spider-Man has this story, then this story, then this story. But now it's almost like they just want these restarts to be, the new season, the new storyline, right, rather than let things continue. And I think if they let Spider-Man grow, evolve, expand that universe, I think that stands more of a chance of people coming in. Because right now, if somebody picks up Spider-Man, they're going to be like, oh, it's just like the movie. He's having trouble finding a job.
Right.
He's broke. His Aunt May is sick. Like, we've seen it. Like, we don't need to keep seeing it.
That's what happened to me when I came back to reading, and I picked up the current Spider-Man. I think it was volume 5, and I was starting to read it, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I hadn't read. There was a gap where I hadn't read for a period of time. And I said, why is Parker still where he was 30 years ago? Like, it was so strange. I'm like, I don't understand this. Like, why hasn't he progressed any?
I don't know where it falls, but I know I read a series of Spider-Man where he was like a very successful tech guy. He had a company.
Right.
That was,
Parker Industries. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Do something,
Right.
He's smart. He's a successful superhero. I don't know. You can still have conflict and drama. It doesn't always have to be the same conflict and drama.
Right. Yeah, no, agreed. Cliff, good morning, Cliff.
F.
Born Again paper, Charlie Clarkson, just very nice. Yeah, and that, I would think that they would want to try to capitalize, even, DC, right? We and Marvel, with all of the different TV shows and movies, that why not try to tie in, a comic book giveaway, give, on the premiere night of Superman, give away a Superman comic book, right?
Yeah, I'm very interested to see if they do any kind of, because Superman comes out, July. Uh, are they, this is DC's first like bit. This is their, James Gunn's now in charge of their universe, so this is their first like jump in. I wonder what they're gonna do, if they're gonna try to tie the print and the comics in, or if they're just gonna, go with kind of having separate. I don't know that there's a right or wrong strategy. Depends on what they do. But I think James Gunn is such a fan of comics, especially DC. Like when I read things about what he read and the characters he's pulling in, these are characters I love too. So I think he's a comic book fan, like a real one.
Right. And what I think it's, I've seen Reggie Collects mentioned. I guess Wendy's has a tie-in with DC right now with some kids' toy in there. Whatever their kids' meal is, they have like a little action figure in the Happy Meal or the kids' meal at Wendy's. So it looks like the promotion is kind of starting, ahead of the movie release. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
I'm gonna have to go get some Wendy's then.
Well, that's it. Reggie just posted on Instagram that somebody blamed him for eating unhealthy now because he wanted to get the toy at Wendy's.
Yeah. It's just how many versions are there? If there's 4 toys, I'll have to get 4 kids meals.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm hopeful that Marvel will kind of get their act together at some point, but I don't know.
I don't know either.
The outside of main continuity has been the best reading, I think, because they're allowing creators to kind of take a chance finally. Do something different.
At least that's there. At least there's something.
Yes, yeah, it's good that it's there, because if it wasn't, it would be kind of bleak. But I guess the other item is that, unfortunately, Amazing Spider-Man still continues to sell. So I guess why change things if they're still
and that's another thing. We have to vote with our wallets, and I'm guilty of this big time. Like there are books that I buy because I buy them, and I read them, and I don't love them, but they're characters, so I want to support them. But what I'm really doing is I'm telling the publisher, hey, I'll buy this no matter what. And I don't know. I don't know what to do, because I'm not going to stop buying Flash, and you're not going to stop buying Amazing Spider-Man. Yes. So we're not solving the problem, Brian.
All right. So Mike says you can just buy the toys.
Sweet.
All right, that's good. That's good.
But I'm getting at least one Wendy's hamburger.
I know McDonald's used to do that with Happy Meal toys. You could actually buy the toys.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I guess right. Yeah, Marvel's focus right now is on Doom, right? Because of the movie tie-in.
That's right.
Yeah, Cliff is on the stop buying ASM until we get a good product.
It's the right attitude. It's just easier said than done a lot of times.
Yes. Very true. Very true. So I did get word this week that the Doctor #2 is shipped. So I should have it next week, and so I'll start to get all of the Kickstarter orders out. So thank you to everybody who supports that. But that just a little bit of an update there. And I'll have some blank sketch covers that I'm going to be bringing to Heroes Con to give out to some of the artists in our community to see if they'll do a sketch of the Doctor.
Very cool. Can I ask, are you able to order like a bundle of 1 and 2, or is 1 completely sold out?
No, I still have some copies of issue 1. So yeah, you can order both, and I have digital as well. If I do I still have some of the first print of issue 1, but certainly can reprint if I need to. But I also have digital copy as well.
I like Damien's congratulations to you. When is the Doctor reboot, by the way?
Yeah, we're gonna keep legacy numbers for the Doctor. Yes. Well,
I love
my
that.
goal right now with the Doctor is just to. I'm working. I just finished the draft of the script for issue 3, and then That's kind of the end of that story arc, and then I have some other things some other stories I want to write. So right now, the Doctor will be 3 issues for now.
Okay.
So
very cool,
and
man.
I don't plan a reboot or a new number 1, for issue 4. It will be issue 4. Yeah,
Christina dropped the link, so.
Okay, excellent, thank you. I was reading Will's comment about Spidey. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think we've been kind of conditioned to not expect much from ASM, so I think that's been part of the problem. Because when you compare Ultimate to ASM, I think Ultimate is such a better story. But like I said, issue 1 of Joe Kelly's is not bad. I think if they would have started, they kind of wedged the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man, the Doctor Doom tie-in, kind of wedged that in there. So, I think if they would have maybe skipped that story and went right to the kind of reboot, it may have been better. Matt's here. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Matt.
Yes, I have my
another busy guy on YouTube.
Yeah, he's everywhere too.
He is.
Let's see. Mike is helping me read through all 3 issues of the Doctor to try to make sure I'm continuity wise and story wise everything's
cool,
making sense.
Very cool.
Cat Fan's here. Good morning, Cat Fan. Hope you are well. Streaming services, content. What have you been watching? Daredevil has been kind of really the only thing I've been keeping up with right now.
Yep. I don't know if I'm watching really new stuff. My wife and I, we just watched Silo on Apple TV. There's a lot of things on Apple I want to watch. I'm way behind on that. I'm always watching Star Trek. I'm always watching some kind of Star Trek. So I'm rewatching some Next Generation. Honestly, I've been watching more movies lately. I just don't feel like, with YouTube, I haven't been keeping up with shows as much as I have in the past. Cause I feel like about every night I'm doing something, for either YouTube or, sorting comic books to clean up the mess I made because I was on a stream the night before, or whatever. But, yeah, Daredevil, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people who don't like it. I have absolutely loved it. The last episode, I don't know. It was a little, to not be too spoilery, like when we finally got him back in costume, I was hoping we were going to get a lot more superhero moments in the show. I realize it can't all be superhero moments, but the last episode was a little disappointing for me from that aspect, but character wise, I thought it was really good. So I'm kind of judging this as an entire story, not just, particular episodes. And I think Daredevil has been really good. And I didn't hear that the ratings were bad. A lot of people are talking whether they love it or hate it, but I feel like I see a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems like there's a good amount of people watching it because, like you said, it's either they love it or hate it. But yeah, that's interesting because when you think about we're 8 episodes in, I guess, there hasn't been a lot of screen time for Daredevil in costume, right?
Right. And Charlie Cox is like so good in that part, doing the physical part of it. I feel like that's what I want my hallway fight. Every season has given us a hallway fight. Right. I don't care how I want it. I want him fighting some. I want to see that like crowd of insurmountable odds, and he's got nothing but his fists and his wits and his inability to stop swinging. That's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, I think, what I've taken from the series so far is it seems like, so almost episode 1 and 8 were like almost could have been a direct like sequel, right? It could have been episode 1 and 2 almost.
Right.
But they seem to be trying to build, obviously, the backstory or Kingpin's, as mayor and what he's trying to do there, and the story with his wife. And then they seem to be trying to build all this kind of tension between the characters that's going to pay off. But I don't know if they've needed, 6 episodes to do that. So
yeah, I'm fine with a slow burn. I really am. But this one has been, like you said, I think there's too many little storylines happening. I'm sorry. I did not need to see Kingpin go to therapy. And,
right.
And I don't believe for a second that Kingpin would go to therapy with Daredevil's girlfriend, like being his psychiatrist.
Right.
That's, to me, that is like one of the biggest. He's too smart, right? He's supposed to be like smart and Machiavellian. And that moment to me was just, I was like, come on. I think they tried to make it kind of twisty in this last episode that but it didn't play like that to me. It played like filler.
Right. Yeah. And I think, that seemed like an odd choice, like you said, for the Kingpin who's really so smart, and kind of a step ahead of things that are happening, that why would he then, go to therapy with, the woman that Daredevil's dating.
All that said, like, Vincent D'Onofrio is so freaking good in that role. I just love to watch him every second he's on. He's great. But
he's definitely made for that part.
Right now, I give the show like a B minus. There are there have been some A+ moments without a doubt, but overall, the draggy parts have made it like that I'm not as into it. I wonder, if they released everything at once and you could stream the whole thing from beginning to end, would that make a difference? I do like when things are more episodic like this because it gives you time to digest it and talk to people like we're talking right now, that we can talk through it. So there's advantages to both ways, but I wonder if the story they're telling this time would have benefited from, you could chew it up all at once so that you could when you know where you landed, hindsight being 2020, you're like, oh, I liked that a lot. Whereas right now I'm like, oh, that episode was kind of boring.
Yeah, I wonder how a non-comic book audience would view this.
Especially if they're thinking, oh, I'm going to watch a superhero show and it's just Matt in a courtroom for an hour, which was like 2 episodes of the show. And I didn't hate that, but it was, again, my son and I are sitting there watching like, when's he going to put the horns on?
Right. And you think of it, right, through 8 episodes, we've had White Tiger, we've had we've had Bullseye, we've had Muse, right? So there's been a lot going on that really kind of fizzled, was kind of short-lived.
Muse was so short-lived. Like that could have been so great. It was very creepy. I don't know much about him from the comic books at all. I really liked it, and I was shocked that they just like kind of one and done'd him. Bullseye has been really good, but he's only been in this last episode,
right?
Except for the beginning. And I'm going to agree with Mike. Like, I go back and watch the first seasons of Daredevil from the Netflix show, and I don't think this has much rewatch value for me. I would watch the opening where Daredevil's, swinging through the city and that fight with him and Bullseye on the stairwell. I would probably rewatch Charlie Cox and John Bernthal's like confrontation. I loved that moment. Like that was just.
But again, that was short lived, right? We just got a little bit of Punisher, and that's it.
Right. And he was fantastic. John Barenthal is so good in that role. So I mean, come on, Marvel, come on!
Right.
Like you've given us so many mediocre TV shows. Bring that guy back and just let him go.
Yeah, and that was almost we've seen some tease of the Punisher, right, with the emblem, some of the police officers with it, but it hasn't paid off, right? We got that scene with Matt and the Punisher, but nothing beyond that. It didn't go anywhere.
Where my dream for this, the officer that's the most corrupt, the one guy is his last name is Powell, which is the name of Chris Powell, who is Darkhawk. His dad was a corrupt cop. And they were in the storyline with him. The cops were tired of crime, so they created a villain called Savage Steel, that the cops took turns like being Savage Steel and murdering criminals. I felt like they took that kind of story, but they were using the Punisher. And then I was kind of hoping that by the end of all this, Punisher is going to come back. And he's going to give that. There's a great speech that he gives to these police officers that have used his emblem in a way that he doesn't agree with. He's like, no, you guys aren't. He did the same kind of speech with Captain America. He's like, you aren't what I am. You're better. You're supposed to be better. I'm what I am because I'm not. I'm not the good guy. Right. And that's I wanted it to come to that. And I want, I kind of want that moment with John Barenthal as the Punisher, and then that's what's going to lead us into a Punisher show next. But I don't know. I don't think early on I was hoping that's where we were going. I don't think it is, Brian. I'm not having a lot of trust that this is. How many episodes do we have left? 1, 2?
I think 1 or 2. I think it's 9 or 10. And then because Disney Plus has I think Andor season 2 comes out in a couple weeks. So they typically don't like to run, multiple shows at the same time. So
I'm really looking forward to Andor season 2. I loved it.
That should be good. I really enjoyed. I think people didn't like season 1 because they expected stormtroopers. They expected Star Wars stuff. But stormtroopers, Empire, that kind of thing. But this was building the story.
And talk about a slow burn, man. But just like that, and Andor was delicious to watch. I loved it. And I thought, here's the most boring character from one of the Star Wars movies that I don't love necessarily. Why would I want a show about it? And I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they did it.
So it's 9. So this Tuesday will be the last episode.
That doesn't feel like that's going to be enough. It better be something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess, right. If the comic book is slow and wordy, then yeah.
Right.
Mark is here. Good morning, Mark. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Andor too. So the Andor season 2, that should be good. I think this season will be, more action, not so much of the slow burn. Right. And that's maybe what we're going to get with Daredevil season 2, where they've set up a bunch of stuff in season 1, and now we get a lot more, action things that pay off in season 2. So
I just think Andor season 1, it showed you why he ended up where he did. They really developed a character in a Star Wars universe in a way on film I've never seen. Like I've seen it in novels or in the comic book stories where they can feel like they can get a lot more into the world, but it just all the different locations and the places that Cassian Andor ended up. Being part of the rebels and then being in that prison, it was wild, and showing the vacation world that he went to.
Right. At the end. Yeah.
Things I had never seen and didn't think I would see in Star Wars. I really liked it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I mean, I may have to even just go back and watch season 1 again, just kind of binge that to kind of get ready, because it's.
Speaking of, tomorrow night is The Last of Us on HBO season 2. So anybody who was watching that.
Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't watch season 1.
Oh, I really liked it. My wife and I are trying to rewatch it. I don't think we'll be caught up, but we started rewatching some of that last week because we were like, "Holy cow, that comes out on Sunday!" And we really liked it.
Yeah, I might have to. I have to jump in on. I have a long list that I just and like you said, I think the YouTube is throwing a monkey wrench in free time.
It does.
Be able to watch all the things I want to watch.
Yeah, because you only have so much time, and depending on where you want to invest it, there's. But no complaints, no complaints. I can't see it all. I can't read it all. All I can do is try.
Yeah, I thought Casino was getting ready for work, and we sucked him back in. He's still here. I don't want to be. I don't want to be.
Hey, don't get in trouble because of me, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. I think we got through. Yeah, we got through everything.
Very cool.
Everything that I had. Anything else you wanted to mention, Nate?
No, not really. I mean, I saw your list of topics and thought those are good topics to talk about.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty. I just got a few weeks left in my school year and just trying to stay in the groove. Spring is here, so now I got to get some home projects going.
I know. I spent a good chunk of the day yesterday doing stuff around the house. We bought. My wife wanted some new furniture, outdoor furniture, so it came yesterday. So I had to put it together, and then I had to mow the lawn. And yeah, I was tired last night. I was like, all right, I'm ready for bed.
Yeah. Well, if I can plug a couple things before we wrap up. Tomorrow.
The Sunday show, huh?
The Sunday show. Yeah, let's talk about that because that's your old stomping grounds. Gonna have to get you on there one day for sure. It's just been fun. So Hagen from Lettuce Comics and I, we kind of like you and Cliff are with this. We're going back and forth sharing Sundays to be the host, and we have somebody come on and we just kind of do what you and I did today. Maybe we got some topics, maybe we don't, but we just kind of talk about collecting and the things we like to collect, and it's a really casual, like, fun time. So 9:30 a.m. EST Eastern, and that's going to be on Hagen's channel on Lettuce Comics tomorrow morning. And then Tuesday on my channel on Hallyak Comics at 8 p.m. I've got just kind of the regular guys that I hang out with. So Hagen and Eric from SideQuest and Dope from Dope Comics. And we're going to be joined by Ricky from All Sorts of Words. And we are going to talk about our underrated gems, like comic book stories that people don't necessarily talk about as being like, big, great, important books, but books, stories that we like and that we want to, share with people and say, hey, this is one that, would be worth tracking down if you want to read it. So that'll be Tuesday at 8 p.m. And yeah, that's what I got going on next week so far. Who knows what the rest of the week will bring.
All right, good. Yeah, the Sunday show has been fun.
It has. Thank you so much.
I think, Hagen and yourself, and then, you bring in the guest has been some interesting conversation. So I like to, doing something around the house or making breakfast and just throw it on. So,
and that's funny because I have heard from like many people, actually, like a lot of people have told me, oh, I listen to this on my way to work, or I'm listening while I take a walk. That they're not watching the show, they're listening to it like it's a podcast, which I think is kind of funny. Like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And I always feel like I need to watch the show, like anybody's show, because it's comic books and typically somebody's showing something off, right? And so if I'm just listening to it, I feel like I'm missing something because I can't, see the comic.
Yeah.
So I always tend to be, in front of a screen, but I've been trying to do more of, just kind of when I'm doing stuff around the house, have it playing in the background. And then, I can always go catch up and see the cover or something that somebody shows. So,
right.
Yeah. But good. Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to the Sunday show. Now, you mentioned Ricky coming on. Is he planning on coming to Heroes Con? I wasn't sure.
No, I don't think so anyway. I don't think so. I haven't heard, but I doubt it. He's pretty far up north. I know he went to Terrificon last year and he was part of that whole,
that would be
whole
more
group.
Proximity to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a far trip for me, and people who are north of me, it's an even further trip. So
Well, yeah, when
regional.
I lived in New York, Long Island, it was, to drive down, it would be about 11-hour drive for me.
Yeah.
So, but now, I'm an hour and a half away, so it's easy now. And I knew that was kind of on the horizon that we were going to be moving. So I didn't really kind of make an effort to go until we moved, because it was like, well, why do I want to either drive all that way or fly and spend a lot of money,
Yeah.
additional money. So I was like, well, once we move, it'll be easy. So, and the good thing is the show's been around for 20, almost 30 years. So
Yeah, it's a
I don't think it's
huge
going
show.
anywhere.
No,
So
it's here to stay. It's established.
but if you can't make it this year, you plan for next year. That's all. So
Yeah, and I am
yeah.
so looking forward to this year.
I'm trying to think. I've got. I'll have a couple pre-recorded videos. I'll have a review of ASM 1 this week, and I know I have another video I'm working on. I don't know. I'll figure it out at some point. And I might do a live on Thursday night. I've been trying to do an evening live, just because sometimes people can't join us on a Saturday morning. So I may try to go live Thursday evening, probably around 8 or 8:30 Eastern, and just talk about new comic book day stuff. But that was a question I wanted to ask you, because I wasn't sure. What books do you pick up? New books?
You know what? I got a couple I can show if you got a minute.
You're always showing, the weird stuff or older stuff.
I still got weird stuff. So I love anthology horror. So like Hello Darkness is a title that I pick up from Boom Studios. This is they've had a lot of writers do different stories. From Image, I'm reading Lucky Devils. This is on issue 3. So it's about these two shoulder devils who are trying to increase their rank in hell by really corrupting the humans that they are in charge of tempting. And it's a great premise, and it's been really fun. The art is good. It's got indie cred for me. One of my Silver Age books that I love and characters that I love is Metamorpho. And he has, I think it's just a mini right now, but this thing has such Silver Age vibes. It's just the best. Like they call, consider this, Metamaniacs. If office buildings could talk, would they have something to say like, die, humans, die? Like, the whole thing is set up like, you got your characters running down the side here. Like a Silver Age comic would. So the rhythm of the language, whoever is writing that, they're doing a really great job of doing that, of keeping that tone. I think Absolute Batman, the Absolute universe, like the Marvel Ultimate Universe, Absolute Batman has been really, really good. Absolute Martian Manhunter was really, really weird and really, really good. Did you read this yet?
Yes.
I really liked it.
Yeah. So I read all issue 1s of the Absolute stories, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman is the only one I've been sticking with. I picked up The Flash. I think I'll continue with The Flash. I enjoyed The Flash. But Absolute Batman, I'm just having fun with it.
It's so fun.
It's kind of, a little bit over the top, but it's been good. I've enjoyed it.
It is summer movie fun, right? Like it's just big, over the top action. He's so big, it's ridiculous.
Right.
But if you can approach it from that, it's a lot of fun. And I mean, I don't know. I got a couple other books I picked up too, but like I'll still grab an Archie every now and again. This one's all video game based, and I saw this cover grab my eye in the shop. I'm like, I'll check this out. And I mean, if you can't read and enjoy an Archie story, like as wholesome and as the jokes are in this kind of, I feel sorry for you. This is it's bubblegum, but it's fun. You can read anything. I love the Justice League from the 90s, the Bwahaha era. And so there's a new Fire and Ice miniseries, and this cover by Terry Dodson is just great. I mean, I love these two characters. They had a mini series a while back last year that wasn't great. This one actually is kind of a lot of fun. Their powers have been swapped because of a DC event. So fire has ice and ice has fire, and they're trying to deal with that.
Okay.
Hanging out in Smallville with Superman's mom, and it's funny. It's cute. So, I mean, I obviously I read mostly DC and independent. I was reading X Factor for a while, but I dropped it. It just wasn't worth the money. And I'm sticking with Magic right now. It's been weird. Like, she's fighting, she's like, she hears about some town where there's demons to fight, and she's like, I got a soul sword. Let's go fight some demons. And it's been really fun.
Yeah, I've heard a few people mention that that's been a fun series.
There's
been some great covers, some great. Yeah.
Just, I mean, come on. I mean, they know what they're doing when they're selling these things,
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm looking through the variants when I pick those up, because I want to get one that like looks. I don't know. I'm not big on like gratuitous. I like it when these female characters look. I want them to look big and pretty, but I want them to look tough, and that's what I like about her. She's got that big sword.
Right.
Are you reading Absolute Wonder Woman? Speaking of big sword, because that is my favorite Absolute. I think
it was funny. I read issue 1, and I didn't connect with it, so I didn't continue. But I have not read a lot of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Other than, like in a Justice League or something like that.
I'll tell you, I had the exact same experience. I didn't pick up number 2, and then I had several people tell me, no, you should give it a chance.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things.
I think it was a book that didn't land on issue 1 enough to hook most people, but it's one I would recommend you read in trade or digital if you have the chance, because it really
definitely.
It really is.
Like I said, I hear
so
everybody saying such good things about it. So
absolutely,
I'll definitely have to go back and give it a shot. Let's see.
But yeah, Brian, thank you so much for having me on this morning. This was a ton of fun.
Yeah,
like I said,
I appreciate you coming on, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Be there.
But yeah, like I said, we were kind of wrapping up, and then we were talking new comic books. But but yeah, I'll have a couple videos this week, and I might go live Thursday. Probably go live Thursday, but definitely check out our channels. Nate, go sub up and
do come
have
hang out with me.
Great rest of your weekend.
Yep. And thanks to everybody in the chat for being here today.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody who came out. We had a pretty
good interaction.
A good group. But yeah, we'll see everybody in the comments somewhere, or somebody else's live stream.
We always do, right?
Yeah.
And come hang out tomorrow morning if you're awake.
Yes. Take care.